Thank you.
Okay, we're recording, and I'm so glad y'all are in. First of all, thanks for, certainly the commitment of being here. And today's topic is, how do you fill your funnel? And I heard, or I read Cheryl Morton's story. I want to share that with you for a second. Let me see if I can get out of this somehow. Because I just thought it really spurred my thought of this topic in general. So, and I apologize, I should have had it up and ready to go, but here it is. So she posted this on her team page, and if some of you are on there, maybe you saw it, but it's still loading, coming up. But she was standing in line at Sprouts, and as I got to thinking about how do we fill our funnel? Where are we getting people from? And so she said, I just met a gentleman at the checkout counter in Sprouts, and the conversation quickly led to Juice Plus after he told me about his joint pains. He was very concerned that we did not have organic on the label, and I explained our growing standards, the purity, etc. I could see he needed more concrete data, so I asked if I could send him more info. He was very eager to get it, so he gave me his phone number, and we've been texting back and forth since. And anyway, the whole point of it was standing in line at the grocery store. First of all, we all know that doesn't take necessarily very long. And I imagine in my head that it probably looked like she said, hi, how are you? Or opened up somehow to let him know, hey, I'm a friend, you can talk to me. Or maybe she noticed something, maybe she talked about the weather or what he was buying or how often he comes to, maybe it was some generic thing that got it started. But she said the conversation quickly led to Juice Plus after he started talking about his aches and pains. So that's what people love to do. They love to talk about themselves. And she was a master at taking that and turning it into an opportunity to learn about Juice Plus. So, I hear people tell me all the time, oh, I don't know anybody, or nobody I know wants to hear, or the thought of, I don't want to bug all my family, like the family is the only people we're going to ever talk to or something. But the whole idea that in your life, in your day, in your week, you are bumping into people all the time. I think many of those are preordained meetings. I don't think we just bump into people on accident. I think that if we're living purposefully, that we're going to find that as we go. And just think about, if you go and buy a white car, on the way home from buying the white car, all you notice is white cars. It's the same thing. If you're thinking about, if you're processing, if you're planning who to share your story with, who to talk with, who needs Juice Plus, or you're just open to hearing about sickness and illness or frustration or produce or on and on and on, these opportunities just fall in your lap, literally. They just feel like they just fall in your lap, and you're like, really? Wow. But you have to be looking and listening for them. So Cheryl was obviously open, friendly, listening, and then offered information. She knew she wasn't going to have 30 minutes or 3 days or whatever to establish a relationship with this gentleman. So she offered what she had. And I think lots of times, we have to play it by ear, by who is this person and do they have a trust level in me? And how can I help them? And if the passion and the urgency and the love and the care come from us, if we are showing it, they're going to receive it. And if it's the wrong person, they're going to turn around and say, great, have a nice day, But if it's the right person, then they're going to reciprocate, and it's like a, you know, a dance or tennis game or whatever. It goes back and forth, and it's fun for both sides. Both people get value out of it. So that was the first thing. And the other thing that I happened to be doing was I was remembering my last 10 Tower Garden order customers, and I was evaluating, how did I know them? Where did they come from? Was there a particular way that I was getting these customers? I'm going to look at this because they came one after another as no one that I knew. They were met. One lady I met at a talk, another man I met on the airplane, other people came by my booth. One person, I had met someone at a booth, they were a happy camper, and they told someone else. So when she was ready for a Tower Garden, you know, she called me. And matter of fact, she was a school teacher, and she already had applied for and received funding for her Tower Garden. So now she just needed to know somebody that she could get it from. So sometimes we sow the seed, sometimes we water the seed, and sometimes we reap the seed. Back to the sowing of the seeds parable. You know, we have to be okay with that we're going to sow the seed liberally. And we have to be okay with sometimes we're going to water someone else's seed. Sometimes we're going to be the patient, you know, waiting, the farmer waiting. Sometimes we're going to be the sunshine on someone else's seed. And sometimes we're going to harvest our own seeds. And sometimes we're going to harvest seeds that someone else planted, and for whatever circumstances, they weren't around or they didn't get the harvest. So those two things brought to mind, because we are all of us on this call are very different from each other, and we have different backgrounds, and we have different friends, and we have different ways that we communicate, and different levels and layers of friends. And there is no one who can tell you this is how you need to do the Juice Plus business. As far as there are some generalities. So when Kurt Beavers sent a Voxer out, and I believe that I forwarded onto our group, I thought it was amazing because he talked about how some of us have a group of people already, and when we become Juice Plus engaged, they're just right there. You know, there are a group of friends who already trust us and know us, and others maybe have people that walk through the door. Maybe we have another business, or somehow that, you know, people are coming through, whether we're a teacher or you know, just to have people are coming through, and so they're a little bit wider. You may not have all of them at your house for dinner all the time, but they may be a little bit wider. And then some of us feel like we have no significant group, and maybe we're on Facebook or whatever. So the deal is how do you fill your funnel? You have a funnel, and at the top are just people. Beyond your funnel is the world, and people are just wandering around, and they eventually come close to your funnel and start coming through your funnel as you educate them and introduce them to stuff. But I think sometimes we get afraid of the word event, when maybe that's just a coffee. And Sheila taught me this one. People like to go out for ice cream or frozen yogurt, or, you know, just get together with people, get to know them. And when I was talking with Socorro, because I have a lot of booths, and especially here in Marble Falls, I don't know that many people. I'm getting to know a lot of people, and it's really nice that I can go around town and actually bump into people I know and say hi and give them a hug and stuff. But I haven't been here for, you know, 60 years like I had been in Houston. So this is a different feel, but getting to know people on that level, the booths work for me, and I'm amazed that people will stop by a booth and join a company, buy a product, have an interest, come to a Tower Garden or another meeting. So I was just at a market last Saturday. So I have, 2 pages of names, and I also, at the time, had my list of events. I had I had 5 events all the way through from the end of September through October. So I went there armed, prepared, ready to fit people in to these events. And I can say that I'm constantly amazed when people are stopping by and I talk and I say, well, I'm going to be having a, whatever it is, Tower Garden 101 class. Would you be interested in coming? I'm also doing these virtually. So if you'd like a class but can't, go to a particular date, we can do something virtually. So I want to know, what do you do? How are you filling your funnel? Because all of us are not doing it the exact same way. Who would like to, I want this to be interactive. Who would like to tell me how they fill their funnel? Go, Chris.
Well, one thing I do is I go to the gym, and every single time, except for one time recently, I make it a goal. I'm going to have a good conversation with somebody. And
so you start with the end in mind. You start with the end in mind. Good.
I know that's my goal, and I've been having recently my goal actually to get, not just have a conversation. That's how I started out, and I'm getting better at conversations. Now my goal is actually, last time I went, I connected with a 24-year-old pre-dental student on Instagram. The time before, I think I got somebody's contact information. We set up a coffee. She canceled. So I've got several people that I've connected with at the gym that are in. One person I've already gotten coffee with once. I haven't mentioned Juice Plus yet. We're going for coffee again. We're setting that up. So that tends to be, I feel like I'm not where I need to be. Like I'm kind of floundering, but that is one thing I regularly do is work out. So I am trying to use that.
Perfect. So starting with a plan, she's got a plan and she's prepared and ready to do that. The things that are on the front of our brain are the things that get done. Who else would like to share?
I share, I'm like that when I'm at the grocery store or out. I always talk to who's waiting on me or serving me, just to see, how open they are to having a conversation. So last week when we were at Papados with my in-laws, the waitress, I was trying to order off the senior citizen menu, and she didn't believe that I was old enough. And so I said, well, this is my husband and he's 62 and my in-laws. And she said, well, I still don't believe you. So that started a conversation, and now I have her phone number because she wanted to meet up.
Nice.
So, but I'm just friendly around people that I know or that I don't know. I try to have conversations on the plane, and it's just fun getting to know people and finding out.
Yes. So you are starting conversations. You're looking to see who wants to play, who wants to have a conversation, who wants to be friendly. That's kind of the first thing. And if they want to be friendly, then they're starting down your funnel. The first thing is will you say hi to me? Okay, next. Let's see where the conversation leads. And maybe it doesn't go all the way somewhere right away, but it hangs out there until next time, and maybe you can help it mature. Nice. Yeah. Carol, I'm sorry. Yes.
And then over time, you get to text them and thinking about you or trying to follow up with you later, and then you just see where the conversation goes, and it is fun.
And does Teamsy help you with that?
Yes, I was going to mention
I love Teamsy.
Have you done the boot camp yet?
I did the boot camp when I first started, and I thought that it was amazing.
Really?
And yes, because I would like to do it again. you know how it is, you wait for just the right timing. I jumped in with the other one, and so I didn't do it as perfectly as I would have liked to, so I would want to do it again, but I gained a lot of great information, and I don't feel like Teamsy is something you just start doing and you do it perfectly. It's a learning curve. So
Yeah.
you have got to just start getting your feet wet, jumping in, doing the stuff. You'll do stuff wrong. You'll do you won't know what you're doing, but the more you do it, and then the boot camp, he would have the videos each week. There was a particular thing. So especially people seem to have challenges with converting a conversation into learning about my product. That the bridge of hi, how are you? Hope everything's great. And then how do you introduce and talk about? So having help with some of that is very good. So I do recommend it.
That's good. I know that it's closing for this time, and
I
I've been
saw
wrestling.
that.
Do I do it now with conference? And I'm doing another training with Sonia
I think
Strick.
mine was during a conference too, maybe.
Was it?
Or
Was it hard?
Maybe it was the Christmas and Thanksgiving holidays. There was a time, and that, you can't beat yourself up. You're not going to do it perfectly, but you have a goal of doing 100%, 5 or 6 days a week. That's what he challenged us with. 100%, 5 to 6 days a week. Just sit down and knock it out. If you, don't have it done when you are ready for bed, stay up and get it done. If you don't have time at night, then get up early in the morning. And people brought up, well, it's so early. How can you text people then or whatever? He's like, that's what I did. I didn't overthink what the conversation was, and I didn't think about the time. I just sent things. And of course with Messenger, I don't know if it doesn't necessarily ding or whatever.
Mine does.
Yours does? Sandra, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you, it's just how you have your notifications set on your phone.
I can only have so many notifications turned on at a time.
The one I don't have turned on is email, and consequently I miss a ton of emails, but I get so many, I refuse to have it dinging or bonging or whatever.
Sure.
But I definitely have my messages, because that is the major thing that he recommends.
Communication. Yeah. You've got to be able to communicate.
Well, I mean, he even says Facebook Messenger is his first recommendation.
Yeah.
And so you have to have those notifications. If you're getting them, you need to know.
Right.
So, Messenger and text, I think, are critical to have notifications on. That's what I think.
Perfect. Carol, were you going to say something about?
Well, I'm going to just answer your question, and I would say that is an area of weakness for me. That's an area I'm really trying to work on. It's very natural for Sheila. She's a great, sometimes I tell her I wish I was just a fly on the wall to watch, to see, how do you do that? I mean, somebody's waiting on you and you've already exchanged numbers. And so I think it's first getting it in your head so you're thinking about that. I don't always think about that. It doesn't even come into my head, oh, I should be paying attention and thinking how I can introduce this, if it can work in the conversation. So that's an area that I'm working on. I was at the Verizon store getting my husband a new phone, and the young man who waited on us, I was so impressed as the conversation went on. He was talking about how he grew up on a farm, and they were all about healthy eating. He and his wife had kind of gone vegan, and it was like we were well into the conversation before it occurred to me, oh, I could say something.
Yeah.
And so I did.
Sometimes it even passes until you've left and you're thinking, why didn't I say something?
I know. And so I did say something to him. I said, I am so impressed with, especially, I don't know, maybe this is just my mindset, but a man in particular, who's very health conscious and very interested in wanting to eat healthy, knows how important it is. So I said, well, I have some information I'd love to share with you. Can you just put your number in my phone? So he did.
Yeah.
And I sent him a text, and again, stressed how impressed I was that that's kind of unusual to have a conversation like that with a gentleman, and that his parents had done a great job, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he never responded. And then I think, okay, I didn't give him a choice per se I just handed him my phone and said, put your phone number in here.
He voluntarily gave it to you.
So I'm hesitant, like, should I be, sending him another one? I haven't. But I did come home and brag to Sheila. Guess what? I finally did it today.
Good for you.
And I need to do that more often.
That's flexing those muscles, and that's making you stronger. And want to know the thing that I thought about when you start talking about that is, like, I hope you talk to him about the business. Because you ask him, so this is what I tend to ask people, is this your dream job or do you do something else?
See, that's a good point. I didn't.
I'm thinking he would be great on your team from what you're saying.
Yes, and he was talking about working at, well, yes, I'm not sure he's crazy about his job, but no, I didn't. See, that's a great idea.
I like to do that. And matter of fact, I've met several people who are entrepreneurial. They do that as kind of like, something, but then they have their other jobs, or they're looking, or they're in school or whatever. Because I can't imagine standing there in the AT&T store or whatever is someone's dream job. Like, It's a stepping stone. It's kind of like Chick-fil-A. I mean, unless they're going to buy their own franchise or something, they're probably not going to stay there.
Right.
So why couldn't you go back in there, Carol, and tell him you're thinking about him?
Yes, that's the other thing.
Yeah, that you just would like to talk to him some more.
Yeah, and say, oh my gosh, you've been on my mind.
Yes.
Do you have a few minutes, or can we schedule a few minutes, or whatever? Just something about you has caught my attention.
I thought about either texting him and asking, could I just meet you for coffee? Or, at your lunch break, could I just, chat with you? And then I think.
Don't overthink, Carol. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Don't judge.
I'm approaching this man to go meet for coffee, but then I'm thinking, okay, I'm way older than he is. I'm his mother's age. So it's not like I'm hitting on him.
Well, I like how you brought in the part that you were impressed with. And again, people love to hear that. Tell him that, and then say, I don't know. I may have something that would be right up your alley. Could we get together would you be interested in getting together for coffee or something? I would definitely do that. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? He goes, well, thank you for being impressed with me, but no, thank you. I'm like, okay.
What's his name? Because if you don't, I'm going to.
Good the pressure's on. I love it.
Listen, this is what a chicken I am. I'll take her up on it and say, let's go together.
Carol, that is really good that you said that, because I talked to a man yesterday and I never thought about complimenting him on being interested in it. And I think that's why we need each other. Like, Lori, you kind of have a little different flavor. So us all working together, I'm getting new ideas and it's encouraging.
Caroline Davies.
Yes, absolutely. Now there's, I wanted to keep this on time, but there's one thing that I wanted to share about. If y'all are open, I'm learning about networking skills, and this is a real quick little thing, but I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to use the whiteboard, and very quickly, I've learned something just recently, and I'm going to, maybe you are familiar with this, I do not know, but let me get my little pen or whatever it is, however this works. So when you are having conversations, let's say you're a person and here's a person and y'all are face to face, that tells a third person you are closed off. They are not welcome into the conversation. If you are having a conversation and you're open, and maybe it's better if I kind of draw this way, kind of, so we're kind of standing not shoulder to shoulder, but there's an opening. Then a third person can say, they're open, I would be able to join in this conversation. Have y'all ever heard this before? Is this a new concept? I mean, to me, it's kind of like, how do you know when to stand at a wedding? You watch the mother of the bride. Well, nobody does that these days, but still, there are some etiquette things that I'm learning. I didn't know this. So the same thing, let me get rid of all this. The same thing with, if there are 3 of you, oh gosh, I'm just trying to draw. I don't know what I'm not a very good drawer. So there is one person, here's another person, and then here's a third person. This group of 3 is a closed group. That makes sense. And sometimes you may have felt this when you walk in new to a place and people are talking around. However, if they, and it's kind of challenging for me to do this, but if they open up enough, maybe I can do it this way. If they open up just a little bit, that says we're open to allowing someone else into our conversation. If you see them talking like this, it's kind of like, don't go over there, because they are having a one-to-one conversation and they are not wanting other people in. So on the one hand, this is going to clue you in on how to position yourself so other people know that you're open to conversations. And I guess you could do the same thing. Like if someone's sitting there with their phone texting, you're not going to go up and start talking. But if they're, you know, not occupied, you would feel more comfortable. So if you go places, the same as like reading a book, how people say when they get on the airplane, they have to decide, so am I going to talk or not today? And maybe they have earphones or a book or their phone, something that shows other people, I'm busy, don't bother me. Now, not everybody follows the rules. So you're still going to have people that tap them on the shoulder or whatever and don't know the rules. But if you're educated, you can make sure that you give others the feeling that you're open to conversation. If you're all by yourself, you're not, you know, occupied by whatever. And if you're talking with other people. So this can go on, like if you're talking with, it doesn't matter how big the group is. If you are face to face, then it's closed off. No one's going to want to squeeze in there. But if you leave an opening for someone else to come, they will feel more welcomed into your group. They could join in a conversation. And I guess that was, I just wanted to share real briefly. I learned that. I learned something new. It wasn't like rocket science, like I'd never known this before. It was just kind of like, now I think about it. And just like the white car thing, it's on the front of my mind, and I can be a little bit more cognizant that I stay open to others that are around me, whether it's a conversation, making them feel welcome or whatever. And because we all know what it feels like to walk in the room and only see the backs of people, you know, and feeling like, gosh, where do I fit in? Who do I talk to, kind of thing. So anyway.
I think that's important for conference. Like I'm bringing new people that don't know our group. They don't know anybody. And if everybody's like that, they're not going to feel very welcome or included. So I think for all of us, that's a good key.
Absolutely. And that's how they get to know our community. And we are healthy, happy, welcoming people. And we just want to make sure that we're not sending unwanted messages that we're not paying attention to. And I'm sure that's in lots of areas. That's just one that I happened to learn about this week, and I thought I'd share. So anyway, I am planning on, we'll meet together next week. I'm going to be hosting my future in-laws the weekend after that. So I'll have to see what things are going to look like. But we will be back here next Friday. And I want to ask, and I don't want I want honest answers. You know, what do you find this valuable? And I will continue to ask that on a regular basis, because I want this to be that you're investing your time. I want to offer a forum where we can add value to each other's worlds. And so I would say one of the biggest things that I have found is making sure my customers and my team get in the Facebook group, the Voxer, the whatever, because you don't have to carry that burden all by yourself of educating them. If they're in a larger group, it kind of spreads out the weight. It's like walking across a bed of nails. There's not just one nail there, there's a bunch, and it's not so prickly that way. So, and also then everyone participate. And the etiquette on Facebook of, if someone says, welcome my friend, you want to welcome them, not just a thumbs up or whatever, you want to, yes, Sheila.
So I've wondered about that, living here in Georgia, and as we're growing, how, do I put my people in your team, Donna's team, Team Faith here? I'm not sure how far to go. What would you suggest?
I don't think that it matters where you're at. They're going to get a feel for our community. Now, if you're creating a lot of events and you want, it seems like a lot of work to put some customers over here and some customers over there and some customers, because of events that might, get posted, although it's not like a bunch of events necessarily. It's more of just the community, I feel like, and the people that are just walking alongside you on the journey and encouraging you. So you certainly have enough people, enough customers, enough people on your team that y'all could have your own.
We do, but I think community is so important.
Right.
I just didn't know.
Well, that's the deal, as far as just like we get together here and, we get ideas and we share stuff. And that's why I'm on Cheryl's group, and I'm on Donna's group, and I'm on Susie's group, and I'm, Tammy and Chris Reap, and, I'm on other people's groups because I want to see what are they doing and how are they doing it. And to tell you the truth, it's pretty much common knowledge that if somebody shares something, it's an unwritten rule, you get to share it with your group, don't even ask anymore. If I say something, you like it, just copy and paste. We really don't want to have to recreate the wheel every time. But when you're getting started, if you want them to feel a part, and you can always offer, you could say, you know what, I just love being with you. And I think that you would really like the people I work with. I know you're in my group here. I'm wondering, could I have permission to just kind of introduce you to a broader group and kind of the same thing, education? I don't see that there's a problem with that. Certainly people can learn something from other people and the community. So
I like that. I'll do that. So
I love the, I've sat in on Cheryl's calls on Monday night. I do Donna's call, I do this call. And I love the different groups because there's just personality differences, there's different ideas that are presented. I just think it's a really good learning opportunity. And we pick up different bits and pieces because for whatever reason that just jumped out at us. So I like it. And I mean, what's a half an hour, right? A half an hour time, and we've learned so much today. And just for your information, Lori, next Friday, Sheila and I are going to be driving to meet a new rep that signed up that lives in South Carolina.
Oh, boy.
And we've not met her. And
Who signed her up?
well, I did, but Sheila did help me. Because here's what happened. I have a 90-year-old neighbor. She lives right across the street from Sheila. She's been in the neighborhood forever, and I just love her dearly. She's a very strong Christian lady who just will share the gospel with anyone, anytime. And so she came to a couple of our events, and she signed up to get on really, she just takes veggies. But she'll call me and she'll ask me questions, and then she's got another friend who's 85 who's got some serious issues, and she knows Juice Plus would help her. So I went to her house and had coffee and signed her up as just a customer. Then she called and wanted me to get some information together for her daughter. Well, then she called to tell me about this friend in South Carolina who's 90, and she's got health issues, but her daughter, her friend's daughter, is her caregiver. They had a really good life, and somehow they ended up in government housing, a government facility. And the facility has allowed her daughter to be her caretaker. And she's got issues. And Carol, I just talked to her about Juice Plus, and I told her, you're going to have to find an agent in your area. And I said, no, Martha, really, we can have customers around the world. And so, so she gave me her number and told the lady that I'd give her a call. But then she told me, okay, I've given her your number, but she went online and did a little research, and she found something else that's supposedly just like Juice Plus, but much cheaper. And it was like, uh-oh, this is bringing the chicken out in me. So when I called her, I asked her, would you mind if I invited a friend of mine who, we're sort of teammates if she got on the call? And then I just kind of let Sheila do the call. And then what happened was we were talking to her, and yes, she did find something. I think it was Juice Festive. And we talked to her about Juice Plus. And then out of the blue, she said, well, what if I just wanted to sign up? It was like, whoa, neither one of us were expecting that. But she signed up as a rep. And we're going to meet her halfway next week and just share information. Been sending her stuff. And so
that's awesome.
It was just like, oh my goodness. Because I was a little afraid when, I'm going to have to be on the defensive about Juice Plus. And anyway, it was wonderful.